So we are on YouTube. Hey, good afternoon or good evening. This is Welcome to Fired Up with Bob Irwin. I'm your host for the show, the aforementioned Bob Irwin. We are broadcasting from the gun store here in Las Vegas. And we are broadcasting on KSHP 1400 AM radio if you're driving your car. And the show is also simultaneously broadcast on YouTube at Fired Up with Bob Irwin. We're here every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. in both those venues. We talk about guns, politics, self-defense issues related to firearms. My guest tonight, to my immediate left, murder defense attorney Clark Patrick and firearms instructor Lenny Davis. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, Bob.
Can you give a little of your background for listeners that may not have seen you since last week?
Sure, Bob. Grew up in Montana, been around firearms my whole life, hunting and target shooting. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, did some time with the U.S. Army as a tank commander. And for the last 10 and a half years, I've been practicing law here in Las Vegas, dealing solely murder defense.
Good experience. Lenny, you're up.
My name's Lenny Davis. I'm a retired special agent with U.S. Customs, Department of Homeland Security. I've been a firearms instructor since 1980. Up until this past year, I've been, since 2008, I was an instructor for the U.S. State Department in the Global Anti-Terrorism Assistance Program.
These gentlemen and myself are here to discuss some shooting cases, and we always start out with a few of those anyway. Self-defense cases, some are good, some are bad. All are instructional to people who own a gun. You keep a gun in your house for self-defense or have a concealed carry permit. There are roughly 200 or better of these defensive shootings every week in the United States. And we like to highlight a few to offset some of the media crud about all guns are bad and so forth and so on, to show there are good uses of a firearm. And I pick out cases that I think have instructional value to people that own firearms. So you can put yourself, if you were in that position, what would you have done? So we'll critique the cases as to what was right, what was wrong. And through a firearms instructor's eyes and through an attorney's eyes, should he be defending you in one of these cases. But they're all food for thought. So here we go. If you wish to make a question or comment, you can email or text a question or comment to that, what it says on the sign in front, to bob@firedupmail.com. If it's directed to one of my guests, I will forward it to him, but all the mail should go to there, or text to that place. This first story is out of KAR TV 11 in Minneapolis on the 27th in nearby Shakopee, Minnesota. A Craigslist transaction went wrong. We seem to have one of these every week, but try to educate people out there not to do this. Anyway, they resulted in a man firing shots outside the local Walmart. Authorities were dispatched to the Walmart on Old Carriage Court just before 6 p.m. because of a report of gunfire. The local police chief told the media that a man set up a meeting in the Walmart entryway to sell his cell phone to a buyer he met on Craigslist. When the buyer approached him, he grabbed the cell phone without paying and ran away. There's a surprise. The victim then told police he ran after him into the parking lot. That's when the suspect turned around and pulled a revolver from his front waistband and pointed it at the victim. Now the victim fled, zigzagging back through the lot. He had a concealed carry permit and was carrying at the time. Once he got to cover, he pulled out his gun and fired multiple rounds at the suspect, who then fled into the vehicle with a second perp, apparently. He had a getaway car waiting. The victim then called 911. By 3:30 p.m., the Shakopee police had both suspects in custody. The men are aged 20 and 21. Both are from nearby Bloomington, Minnesota. Police are not searching for any other suspects, and no one was injured. During the incident, it says, however, the officers put the Walmart on lockdown for about half an hour as a safety precaution, went through looking for any additional witnesses or suspects. One of whom got locked down was the Vikings wide receiver, Charles Johnson, who happened to be there at the time, and he tweeted the whole thing out live as to what was going on. Just a little bit of celebrity adding to. Lots of things here that are good and lots of things that you would wonder why. I want to start out by, again, talking about meeting somebody in a public place that isn't the police parking lot to buy, sell, or trade a cell phone. One of you is bringing a cell phone somebody wants to steal. The other is bringing money, allegedly, that somebody wants to steal. Walmart's not the place for that. A parking lot of a police station at high noon.
Right.
If they say, I don't want to meet at the police station and I only can meet you after dark.
Red flags.
That's a
There's
clue.
a reason. Yes.
go.
Don't do it.
So the guy loses the cell phone, and then instead of stopping right there, running to get another phone, call the police, he runs after the guy. Good idea?
Not necessarily, because in this case, and the guy obviously came to steal the cell phone, so there's a good chance he was armed, as he was in this case. It's a cell phone. It can be replaced. It's property. Find a phone, call the police.
You're in front of a Walmart where they sell cell phones.
Right.
Chasing the criminal when it's not necessary for some reason. He's running off with your child under his arm or something. This is what happens. Sometimes the bad guy pulls a gun, and sometimes you get shot. This is not something you want to. I understand we're all mad about street crime and crap like this going on every 5 minutes. He sees the gun come out, so then he runs the other way, zigzags around the parking lot. Good, so he doesn't get shot. Got to cover. The bad guy is
Probably taking off by now.
now leaving. He gets his gun out and fires shots
Yeah.
at the guy.
Again, not such a good idea. The zigzag, run for cover, that's great. Pull your gun out, that's great. If the bad guy's not shooting and is trying to run away, again, let him go. You're pretty much out of danger at this point. Had one of his shots hit a innocent victim,
His defense is, I was shooting at
shooting
a
at the guy
who
that was armed that I was afraid
earlier had pointed a gun at me.
Yeah, it's weak, and even if he doesn't get charged criminally, the civil suit is going to be a nightmare.
And I have to think something with Walmart about marksmanship, because it has to be, because a few years ago in the northwest part here of Vegas, there was a very similar type thing. A guy attempted to rob a gentleman, and he pulled out a .45 automatic and emptied the magazine at the perpetrator and missed him with every round. Luckily, again, nobody got hit, but I'm starting to wonder if it's not a good, people that go to Walmart should get some gun training.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, one of the things that this guy had a concealed carry permit. I don't know what kind of training they require in Minnesota to get one, but somewhere, sometime they must have talked, if there is training, maybe you just get one if you qualify. I don't know. There's background. We're in a Walmart shopping center.
Mm-hmm.
There is background.
Lots of people.
I mean, a handgun round is going to travel several hundred yards.
Right.
And there's lots of folks and children and things. I mean, that's just, don't do that. If you're safe, call the cops. Let them chase the guy. They got insurance. They got free lawyers. If they get sued, government lawyers to defend them.
Right.
Don't do that. Again, the gun store does offer free concealed carry permit classes every Monday, Wednesday, and every Saturday. Please come in and take advantage of that. We only charge for the paperwork for the state you're getting, whether it be it, we do Nevada and Florida and Utah now. We'll charge you $10 for each application, but the class itself is free. When you go to qualify, we're going to charge you for the ammunition because you have to use our lead-free ammo on a range. But the basic class is free. If you're just keeping a gun at home, or want to keep one in your car where you can in most places in Nevada, come take the class. It's free, and you will learn Monday, Wednesday, or Saturday. You can sign up online at our website, thegunstorelasvegas.com. Here we go again. This is WAVY-TV in Virginia Beach, Virginia. On the 27th, police have arrested 3 men in connection with the robbery at 9 p.m. in the parking lot of McDonald's.
Second best place after the parking lot of Walmart.
The 911 call came in for a robbery of a person in the 4600 block of Bonnie Road, which is the McDonald's. Virginia Beach police say the victim had planned to meet someone in the parking lot to buy a cell phone. He met with a seller who was with 2 additional men. Police say a dispute erupted between the victim and someone with the seller. The dispute escalated. The victim was punched in the head. This is the guy that brought the cell phone. Punched in the head, which dropped him to the pavement. The men then robbed the victim of his cell phone. At that point, the victim pulled out a gun and fired in self-defense against the assault. Apparently, there were no injuries from the weapon being fired.
Wow.
Again,
Can't shoot at McDonald's either.
practice. The suspects left the scene in a silver sedan. Patrol officers found the guys early the next morning in a traffic stop. They arrested the 3 guys, aged 29, 23, and 20. One's been charged with robbery, conspiracy to commit a felony, refused to ID to police, and driving without a license. Yeah. The other 2 are just facing robbery and conspiracy to commit a felony charges. They're all in Virginia Beach jail. They sound like the same case. Not quite the same. Here, the victim who is trying to sell a phone actually got assaulted.
Right.
He certainly has reason to fire in self-defense with 3 guys.
With 3 guys standing over him. Absolutely.
Fine shooting. Marksmanship could use a little work. Again, try the parking lot of the police department in daylight hours. Yeah. When they say, I can't meet you, but 9 o'clock at night, don't go there. This is a problem, and I want to, one of the reasons this is in here, I want to break off a little bit. Most people, when they practice shooting their gun, they're qualifying, I don't know, but shooting their gun and will practice with their gun, they don't practice real life. In real situations, very frequently, you're going to knock to the ground. The warning that you're being robbed is getting hit upside the head or knocked over and kicked and whatever. And you'll find yourself on the ground being attacked. And that's when you try to draw your gun. So, and I can easily visualize this guy being disoriented enough. He's never tried to fire his gun while laying on his back with somebody kicking him in the head at the time or whatever. You can practice everything except the being kicked in the head part. You know, if you haven't tried to fire your gun, when your gun's unloaded, fall down on the ground or your living room floor and see if you can get your gun out. See if it falls out when you hit the floor. Bad idea. You want, his obviously was secure because he was still able to draw it. But you're in real life, you're not going to be firing standing on the range with your 2-hand hold with the guy standing in front of you with his hand on his hip staring at you. Everything's moving. You're moving. The bad guys are moving. So you want to be sure you can draw and fire your gun from the position that you're on.
As you well know, Bob, about 20 plus years ago, law enforcement started to transition away from that square range mentality, ready on the right, ready on the left, ready in the firing line. It is movement, shooting, moving to cover. It's shooting from different positions. I mean, I've taught a couple of advanced classes strictly about shooting around vehicles, what to use, where to go, how to shoot. So, you know, it's not just that go to the range, shoot the target at the bullseye. It's much more than that. And if you don't have those skills, you need to get those skills. And it's saved a lot of police officers' lives over the years.
It has.
You know, and I will tell you, as a witness to this, to my own actions, when I was a very, very young military policeman, you will revert under stress to your training. So if your training is poor, your performance is going to be poor. I, in the grace of God, in a traffic stop, survived it, a armed encounter, strictly by the grace of God, because I was not trained in any kind of combat shooting or anything at that point. And I just got out of it by the skin of my teeth. So you really, really, really need to get some training. And if you go somewhere, get some advanced trainings from some people.
On that, we've actually started now at the gun store. We're offering a separate from American Seal 11 class, a basic pistol defense course and an advanced class. On the advanced one, we're going to bring you on the range ahead of our firing points, so you can work from the draw and kneeling and so forth. And we actually have the ability, of course, with moving targets, to give you a charging target to shoot at, which frequently happens in these things. So see if you can draw your gun and hit the target a couple times before the target runs into you. And when it does, you just lost. So
Very good.
it's interesting training to use targets that move. They're cute. And then once in a while, I used to run that in police academies, we would actually start the target, and the guy thinks it's going to charge him, and we'd run the button the other way, and the target runs away from him. And they're thinking, when the target moves, I'm going to shoot.
Yeah.
They draw their gun anyway and shoot, even though we're showing them target that's running away at the time. Makes you think. Look at what you're doing.
Well, look what the force on force with the simunition training.
Yes, wonderful.
You can see new law enforcement officers, or even older law enforcement officers that have never gone through, simunition training, where, gee, the target moves, shoots, and communicates and thinks. It's not just a piece of paper, and it shoots back. That how all of a sudden you look like a real cheap Earl Scheib paint job.
Right.
You tend to really change your tactics and migrate to cover and think a lot more and get that going. So yeah, it's definitely getting the training.
If you want some training like that, and I highly recommend that you're not in a police department where you can do that sort of thing, try going and playing paintball. They sting, and you quickly learn not to stick your head out and use cover and so forth and so on, or you come home all sorts of fancy colors. But it's good training. This is WLKY TV 32, Louisville, Kentucky. A little better shooting. Charges are pending against the suspect who's recovering in University Hospital from a gunshot wound. Louisville Metro Police reported a man approached a woman downtown Tuesday night around 6:15 p.m. She's walking to her car in a parking lot when she got off work. The suspect walked up to the victim, displayed a knife, and said, "Give me everything you have." The intended victim pulled out her gun and shot him.
That's everything she had. Bullets.
One at a time.
One at a time.
The wounded suspect made his way to the PNC Plaza building, if you know where that is in Louisville. This was apparently right across the street from there. That's where the police caught up with him, took him to the hospital. He's expected to survive, will be charged upon his release from the hospital. Several women that were in the nearby area commented to the media, which got there immediately. There were just some cute quotes here. One says, "You have to protect yourself, being vulnerable, being a woman. You have to really protect yourself. I felt like it was justified," said one woman who lives in Louisville. Another that parks in the same garage, which is at 5th and Liberty, if you're from there, was quoted as saying, "I thought it was really empowering for women in that she could do that and she still had the confidence to do that." A third woman who also works downtown said, "Tuesday night's incident is a good reminder of being aware of your surroundings. I carry pepper spray in my purse. It's always there so I can reach it. Police say the woman who fired in self-defense will not face any charges."
That's pretty clean.
Cool shooting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've got a knife. Give me your stuff. Bang.
Bang.
Great.
End of story. Never bring
Again,
knife to a
Gunfight. Yeah.
We talk about, trying to get distance and things. In this case, when you're looking at somebody who's out in the sidewalk, she just came out of work, presumably she's not dressed in her track shoes and whatever, and the guy has a knife. Turning your back on somebody with a knife that's close, bad idea. He may be faster than her, and you can't defend yourself when you're got your back turned to your opponent. So this is a perfect shooting. I hope the lady isn't upset too much. Unfortunately, the guy didn't die, because that's always a problem. It's better that he doesn't.
Yes.
Despite the fact that you'll hear that from all your friends. If you shoot somebody, make sure they die. No, if you shoot somebody, make sure they don't die. A lot easier on you. I had a method of my madness putting this one in. We do offer a ladies only shooting and personal safety class. It's twice a month on the second and fourth Friday. The next one up is on February 11. You can find the sign up at our website, thegunstorelasvegas.com. Women only. We only take 12 students in it because of our range capacity, and this is a really hands-on instruction thing. You'll spend some time in the classroom with our instructor Maggie, and sometime in the range, and it's good training. I love it, because women will, you're not going to have an instructor in there who talks down to you because he's spent too many years in the Marine Corps, and you have a lady instructor who understands and talks and is good. You'll love Maggie's class. Try to get there if you can. Fox 4 News, Dallas, Texas. The owner of an East Dallas convenience store fatally shot an armed robbery suspect late Tuesday night. The incident happened at a stop and go on Columbus Avenue just before 10 p.m. The proprietor, this is a great story. The proprietor reported two masked gunmen walked into the store. One jumped over the counter. The other grabbed his wife and is holding the wife at gunpoint. He tried to use his gun that he had and struggled with it, and it jammed. He ran toward the back of the store, and this suspect, the first suspect, chased him into the cooler. When he ran into the cooler, this is a walk-in cooler, obviously. When he ran into the cooler, the suspect turned. He doesn't remember, but he got his gun out, doesn't remember hitting the robber or shooting the robber, but he did fire his gun. He got it working in the cooler, fired the gun. The suspect turned and ran away. The proprietor then went out to help his wife. As he came out of the cooler, she was able to break away from her captor. Then he took the opportunity to fire shots at the second suspect. He ran away too. Common thing when you shoot at bad guys, they have a tendency to run. Police believe there were actually three suspects. Two of them got away. The man the store owner shot died in the parking lot. It's not clear which one of the suspects he killed. He didn't think he hit either one of them,
Right.
as it turned out, in the heat of the moment. And the proprietor told officers he doesn't like guns, but he keeps one in the store to protect himself and his wife.
And now he's glad he does.
You don't have to like guns.
No.
Yeah,
Now he loves guns.
Right.
I'm not sure from some of the comments.
But the one thing I will say about this is, and it's a teachable moment, you can shoot the gun, you can put the magazine in, load it, shoot it at the range. Learn how, when they malfunction, learn how to clear that.
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to make that gun run again. There's three types of malfunctions. Learn how to clear all three of them. There's a million videos out there if you don't want to go to somebody, but go see somebody, go attend somebody's training that knows what they're doing, and learn, because it's made by man, it will malfunction.
Sure, and you're in the heat of a fight here. He may have banged the gun on the edge of the cooler or hit something with it, and he caused the malfunction. He maybe wasn't carrying a chamber, didn't rack it all the way because he didn't practice with it, but he had the presence of mind to get it running,
right?
Come back out. His wife had the presence of mind to break away from the guy when she saw her husband coming, so he didn't hit her accidentally. And I'd say at the time the report came in, they found a guy dead outside. They're not sure whether he was the one that chased him in the cooler he fired at, or it's the other one. You don't have to like guns. They're just a tool. Have a tool handy. If you
save your life.
There's nails around. You might need a hammer.
Right.
I don't like chainsaws, but I know how to run one. So
that's really scary for house defense.
It'd probably get the job done, though.
I would think the psychological effect would be
yes,
as much as a shotgun.
Yeah.
The gun store has a wedding chapel. If little commercial here, we offer memorable shotgun weddings, vow renewals, simple ceremony, or a whole shebang package. If you go to the gunstorelasvegas.com and click on special events, you'll find all sorts of stuff about how to use our wedding chapel. We're having a wedding here about once every 2 weeks, and they're pretty fun. You just have to be there to see. When you see in the paper we're going to have one, you got to come down and watch just because they're cool.
I break out in a rash with weddings. So.
Yeah. Fresno B reported on the 29th in Fresno, California. A burglar allegedly attempted to steal property from a home in nearby Sanger, California. Thursday night, was surprised when the 70-year-old homeowner met him and raised a handgun and ordered him to the ground. The Fresno County Sheriff's spokesman said the 54-year-old male broke into the victim's home on South Lewis about 6 p.m. Deputies received a call about 6:30 p.m. from the homeowner who had caught the intruder stealing property. The homeowner had been working in his yard, and when he tried to re-enter his home through the front door, the security metal gate was locked. But he remembered leaving it open, so he didn't lock himself out of the house, obviously. Being locked out, he re-entered his own house through a window. He drew his registered handgun from his pocket, this California registered handgun, from his pocket, found the intruder inside, and pointed the gun at him. He ordered the suspect to put his hands up, go back outside, and sit down in the front yard. Sheriff's helicopter captured footage of the homeowner detaining the burglar in the front yard. Police noted the homeowner had a permit to carry a concealed weapon for 50 years.
Nice.
And this is the first time he has ever drawn his gun on any other person. The subject was booked on felony burglary, a probation violation, as well as drug possession. Criminals are generally multiple criminals. When you look at the criminal history,
Absolutely.
they've done lots of stuff. He's saved by being armed on his own property, having the gun.
50 years, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I would question, I don't use names in here because this is a good thing, and the guy did great. But how about when you find that you're locked out of your own house? You remember you left it locked, and you left it unlocked, and it's locked now. Did you just call the police and go, I think I got somebody in my house? Or maybe when he gets the guy at gunpoint, just puts him on the floor right there and call 911 instead of trying to escort him out of the house.
That would have been my only tactical thing that I would have said is, put the guy on the floor right there, call 911, wait for the cavalry to get there. Because
if you twitch, I'm going to shoot you, and there you are.
Yeah, and if you let this, okay, go outside and sit down. Well, the guy goes out and takes off. Then what do you do? You've got the guy at gunpoint at your house.
And if he takes off, what do?
Let him go.
Wait goodbye. If there's any of these types of confrontation, if there's time to let the police respond, let them do it.
Yeah.
Free lawyers, body armor, all kinds of stuff. They're way ahead of you.
Helicopters, dogs.
Yeah, I mean, they had a helicopter.
Yeah.
And there was video footage of the guy standing in the yard holding the gun on this guy who had to be really embarrassing for the crook.
It'll make an episode of Cops, and then this guy will be the laughing stock at the prison.
Yeah. Well, yeah, here we are again. The extra charge besides felony burglary and violating his probation, he had drugs on him. So, burglars, if you're going to commit a burglary, the prosecutors, and Clark knows lots of, they always need extra stuff to charge you with. Be sure to be carrying.
Try not to help them.
Right? Leave your drugs at home.
Yeah. Leave your drugs at home. Make sure that you go to all your probation and parole hearings.
Make sure your taillight's not out.
Yeah, make sure your taillight's not out. Yeah, I know you're not a rocket scientist, but really, seriously, come on.
But carrying your drugs while you're doing a burglary,
yeah, not so good.
Leave them in your car, maybe. I mean, they'll find them there anyway, but at least have a shot. If you need, anyway, I want to remind you again, questions or comments, you can drop me an email to bob@firedupmail.com. It's on the sign, and I will forward them to who you need to. And please friend us on Facebook. You go to Facebook, Fired Up with Bob Irwin. You will find our stuff there and friend us, and that'll put you on our mailing list.
Your website says friend us.
You know, you're not Vanna White.
No, evidently not so much.
It's the mustache. If you need some printing done, please try my friends at American Printing. They're downtown on Fremont and 15th Street. They do great work at great prices. They've been doing our printing for years. It's a family business. And as we are kind of in this isn't a paid commercial. I just do nice work, and I encourage people, if you have printing you need done, go down and talk to American Printing. You'll find them online, American Printing in downtown Las Vegas. Give them a shot. Maybe they'll do good work. They do good work for us. Fayetteville Observer on the 30th, a couple days ago, North Carolina, a woman her toddler left home in Robeson County to run an errand. Upon returning, they found an unfamiliar silver Jeep Wrangler in the driveway. Police had already received an alarm activation signal that someone had broken into the home, but the woman returned to her house before the officers arrived at the scene. So what does she do? She goes
Wait
in
for the
house.
cops.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So she went in that. It's fine. When she saw the Jeep, the lady who's a military wife entered the home with her handgun, and that's when she saw a man coming down the hallway. She looked at him, he looked at her. He had her iPad in his hand, and she started shooting, according to police. That's what she's told police. Probably, Clark, you didn't want her to do that.
No.
Just
Not
say,
so
I
much.
live here, and
Yep.
I'd like to talk to Clark before I give a statement.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, she said he had her iPad, and she started firing. The intruder died at the scene.
There was body count.
There's a body count.
Yeah, so she gets you.
Yeah.
Police are working to identify the suspect. He was carrying no identification at all. The Jeep had been reported stolen 30 miles away in Hoke County, according to the sheriff in Robeson County. The county sheriff said no charges are expected to be filed against the woman, but the district attorney will make the final decision, of course. The name of the homeowner has not been released. The armed woman saves herself from harm. Great. And
Yeah, but should have wait. At least before you go in the house, call 911. They'll tell you we have units on the way. Maybe you don't go in the house. He could have been armed. And even though he was in the house and was in the hallway, you get the wrong district attorney, and there
this
could
is
be
North Carolina, where they're a little less likely to prosecute a woman for
Right.
shooting, and was
but there could be
apparently
some problems
reasonably
with this.
self-defense. The DA is going to look at it, of course.
Yeah.
What really lit me up here was, I know that we're all mad about crime, and we're tired of this crap of people stealing stuff and stealing cars and whatever. It's incredibly annoying. We even had here locally that two 12-year-olds got their iPads stolen at gunpoint a couple of days ago. I mean, these dirtbags are just getting out of hand. The woman has a toddler. She's a military wife. So if she goes in there and gets herself killed, now there's no mother. It ruins their family. It ruins the husband's life. It clearly ruins her life. The toddler is going to be raised with no mother. I don't care how mad you are that there's somebody in your house. You're the only one there. What are you risking here? I know she's mad, but you're not thinking
And I don't
about
know
what
that
happened.
necessarily she was mad. She's a military wife, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Okay.
I got that part. And she's tough.
And when her husband's been downrange how many times,
Yeah.
she's used to handling things on her own. Probably didn't think about this because, well, I've got a gun. I'm going in to check it out. Again, I'm not defending her. I think she should have done it, but I could certainly understand that as being a military wife.
Think it
True, yeah.
It's anybody looking at this from the outside would go, why in the world did you do that? Again, we offer free concealed carry permit classes every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday here at the gun store. Go to thegunstorelasvegas.com. You'll find that and all our other classes that we teach now. Good things, learn what to do. Here we go with military guy. This is the Statesman. It's a local paper in Austin, Texas, reported this week on the 28th. That back on January 16, 2 weeks before, a Bastrop deputy sheriff, arrived at a call on Watterson Road and Texas Highway 304 at 9:45 p.m. The report was about a man driving erratically with his children in the vehicle, or with a child in the vehicle, I'm sorry. When the deputy tried to stop the vehicle, the man drove away and then suddenly pulled to a stop at a gas station. The driver, the officer got out and obviously talked, what are you doing? Driving erratically, you're drunk, whatever. And the driver resisted arrest. A fight started. The suspect ends up pummeling the officer. The officer's on the ground getting beat. A local Marine veteran who happened to be in the area jumped into the fight, prevented the suspect from getting the officer's gun. The guy was trying to pull the gun out of the officer's holster at the time. The Marine's a CCW holder, pulled out his concealed handgun, pointed it at the suspect, yelling commands to freeze. His intervention caused the suspect to break away from the fight and flee. He was captured by the victim deputy and a responding backup deputy shortly thereafter. The 32-year-old suspect is from Arkansas, was booked on charges of aggravated assault of a public servant, trying to take an officer's weapon, evading arrest with a vehicle, and driving while under the influence with a child under 15. He's currently in Bastrop County Jail on $50,000 bail. The deputy said, "I'm alive today because of him. The citizen who served 2 tours in Iraq as a Marine has agreed to be a witness and stay involved in the legal process of the case. And the department plans to honor him with a commendation."
Beautiful. Good stuff.
It's just wonderful stuff. We always caution in our teaching classes and on this show that intervening in third-party situations where you don't know what's going on is extremely dangerous. Here, it was absolutely clear who the good guy is, who the bad guy is. A uniformed deputy driving a squad car is on the ground. This guy's trying to pull his gun away from him. Absolutely perfect intervention. This guy is an absolute hero. Didn't kill the bad guy, which he could have under these circumstances.
Yeah, he could have shot him, and it would have been.
Could have shot him, and nobody's going to say a word. It would be a perfectly valid shooting, but he held his restraint there, probably because of his experience in combat. You don't want to kill somebody unless you really have to do that. And it's great. He's getting all kinds of awards and things, and it's just nice that.
Good.
Occasionally you see something you should intervene in because you just morally should. There you go.
And a word to you, ne'er-do-wells in Texas. Texas has a history of civilians coming to the aid of law enforcement officers. Several years ago, a officer was in a gun battle with a suspect in a divided highway, and a man returning home from deer hunting stopped on the other road, pulled out his rifle, and shot the bad guy, and he was DRT right there, dead right there.
Easy shot across the highway if you're a deer hunter.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I think it was a little bad taste that he tried to put him on the hood of his car to take him home. But
should have let the officer do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, great job. Child safety, speaking of that, the gun store offers Eddie Eagle gun safety classes for children 5 to 11. On the 4th Friday of each month, its information again is on our website, thegunstorelasvegas.com. It's free. It teaches little kids to stay away from guns, stop, don't touch, and so forth. If they find a gun, it's not designed for older children. It's designed for little kids that you want to not touch the gun. It's free. Please come in if you got a child that age. Don't be thinking about, I wish I'd have said that before little Reginald got a hold of that gun. Try and make them childproof. If you're not smart enough to lock your guns when you're not there, and a lot of folks aren't,
and it's so easy
try to childproof the kid.
It's very easy. You can stop by any gun store and pick up a free gun lock.
A couple of political and stuff notes here. Gunsandfreedom.com reports in Kansas a couple days ago. You have heard many stories of banks and companies cutting off service to gun dealers and manufacturers simply because they don't agree with the legal dealing in firearms. Some banks we have found won't handle anybody that does anything with guns. A new bill in Kansas seeks to make sure it doesn't happen anymore. The bill would ban discrimination against gun dealers and manufacturers under the Kansas Firearms Industry Non-Discrimination Act. Wouldn't that be
Good for
nice?
them. That's good
Now
stuff.
I'm a protected party, maybe,
Right.
if I'm in Kansas.
Yeah.
And if they say, I don't want to deal with you because you sell guns, I can sue 'em.
Protected class. That's right.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
not on my, I'm a senior citizen and everything. I'm, yeah. New Jersey governor, he just pulled out, I think, or about to, but New Jersey Governor Chris Christie last week vetoed Democrat state legislatures' move to replace their ill-fated smart gun mandate with another mandate. Their new mandate would have been you have to have at least one in your store of a smart gun. And obviously it's up to the owner of the store what products he wants to sell, and to make them carry a gun that nobody wants to buy was long. Christie was getting more and more pro-gun as the election gets nearer.
Right.
Anyway, I don't want to go there. Multiple media sources noted, and it's all over the press now, private individuals will no longer be allowed to advertise guns on Facebook or Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. Their new rule aims to stop all gun trade between individuals on the sites. Businesses may still advertise on the sites, but as we do on occasion. The rule change brings gun sales as the same restrictions that Facebook has on illegal drugs, pharmaceuticals, and so forth. They have 1.59 billion users worldwide. This is caused by a belief that people avoid background checks because they want to commit crimes, which is absolute garbage. They avoid background checks basically because they don't want to pay sales tax and have their name on a list of gun owners, or if you live in Nevada, pay a $25 fee for your background check. However, now if you're planning a murder, you can't buy a gun on Facebook anymore.
Have to go someplace else.
Which was really smart anyway, if you're going to commit a murder, to go to a public site and buy a gun that 5,000 people can see you buying.
Yeah. Right after you Google what's the best gun to shoot somebody with.
Yeah, and this kind of burns me too, because this is a social media that refused to take down anything with ISIS.
Yeah.
And recruiting, and refused to give any information. But heaven forbid that you wanted to privately sell your own firearm legally in the state you live in. But you can certainly self-radicalize somebody. That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's a lot more problems that are beyond the scope of this show, but it's Ammoland.com reported Massachusetts got a bill coming up, H 3476, an act relative to imitation firearms. A bill would require any imitation firearm, air gun, pellet gun, BB gun, cannot be black, blue, silver, or aluminum color, and must be painted with non-removable 1-inch wide orange stripes. There is no provision to make guns already owned legal in the bill. So the way it's written, it's retroactive. If you have a BB gun or a pellet gun, you got to put the same stuff on it, or it's contraband. I have no idea. Now criminals will actually be forced to go out and put stripes on their guns, which they do to make them look like fake guns. So the cops will hesitate. And you wonder why every once in a while you see an officer firing at some kid with a pellet gun. It's because they look too real. It's a problem for officers. If you got a fake gun, don't point it at a cop, even if you're a 16-year-old that weighs whatever in that case. But
well, and you look at in the last few years with hydro dipping and Cerakote, some of the finishes.
Right.
Who's to say what's? I mean, I've seen some just outlandish designs. I have a good friend of mine here in town that does hydro dipping, and I mean some of the stuff that he's done for clients, and you know, I would never in my wildest dream think about having a gun done with that. But it looks like a toy, but it's a real.
We've done that
firearm.
with some of our range guns for the ladies' packages and whatnot.
Right.
We have a pink MP5 and so forth. You know, they're colorful and whatever, but they're for in here to take pictures with when you shoot the gun, not for carrying on the street because
Right.
they look like toys. And obviously, if you put one of those guns anywhere near a child, they're going to pick it up and pull the trigger because it looks like a toy. Don't have those guns around the house that are purple and pink and whatnot unless they're locked up. I don't care whether they match your schmog or whatever you're wearing.
Schmog?
They should look like, yes.
He's trying to say shamog.
Schmog.
Shamog.
Yes, I'm trying to say that.
Is that like a smog?
Firearms News Network, who's a blog that actually carries this show. You'll find them at firearms.net. But anyway, Firearms News Network reported in Tennessee, state senators sponsoring a bill designed to let any Tennessean with a valid permit sue a property owner in the event of an injury or death, provided the incident occurred while in a gun-free zone.
That's beautiful.
The bill makes a handgun carry permit holder who is injured by any of the aforementioned would be able to file a lawsuit within 2 years of when the event took place if he meets the following requirements. The plaintiff was authorized to carry a gun at the time of the incident, and he was prohibited from carrying his firearm because of a sign designated as a gun-free zone. The property owner is not required to be posted by state and federal law, but was posted by the choice of the defendant. In
That's
other words, the guy
beautiful.
put up a
Right.
no gun sign on his own. Then if you go in there and you can't defend yourself and you get hurt, you can sue the guy
Very cool.
who owns the business for putting you in danger and not. He's taken away your self-defense.
Right?
He's required now
Yeah.
to be
I
responsible.
like that.
Like
Any-
when we arrest a guy and handcuff him, we're responsible for his health
Right.
because. we
Any
take
Nevada
away his ability.
legislature is watching today.
Yeah, that would be.
The folks in Tennessee, but if there's a chain of stores called Buffalo Wild Wings. They make no bones about having on their front door in huge letters, no firearms. They're a gun-free zone. I wouldn't go there if they were the last place in the world to have chicken wings. And I hope in Tennessee, you know, they wake up because this is a great piece of
It
legislation.
really is.
We had a lot of reports in the last week or so. The governor of Virginia, Terry McLaughlin, had voided concealed weapon permit reciprocity with 20 other states. All that's been changed now. He's backed off on that. They got so much problem with it. He and his anti-gun attorney general now have agreed. They will just work to see that individuals that are prohibited from getting a Virginia permit cannot carry on an out-of-state permit in Virginia, which I have no problem with.
Mhm.
And the deal also says they will send Virginia State Police troopers to gun shows to provide voluntary background checks for private sellers if the private seller asks them to check the guy they're selling the gun to. I think
Okay.
that's a fine.
Yeah.
That's very good.
That's not bad at
so
all.
the seller can go, yeah, I don't know this guy. I want a background check. The guy says, I don't want to do one.
Yeah.
You know, then the trooper's there to do a background check voluntarily for the guy. It's free. It's a great solution to a non-existent problem. But anyway, so private seller wants a background check. He may right at the show, and it's free and nothing. That's a great idea. This is, we're getting down the wire. Fox 8 Television, Baton Rouge, Louisiana is already known for the least restrictive gun laws. Now several state lawmakers have put in a bill to make it less restrictive by legalizing the carry of concealed weapon without a permit. They're looking at constitutional carry
Nice.
in Louisiana, making this whole page really short. They're doing the same thing in Tennessee. We got a constitutional carry bill coming up in Tennessee. The Deseret News in Salt Lake reports their legislature is also again considering constitutional carry. Utah law allows open carry, but they don't allow concealed carry without a permit. This would make it so you have to carry openly if you want to carry,
Right.
and then the bad guys know you're armed and whatever. This goes constitutional carry. It's going to the governor. He has vetoed the same legislation. Now he is reconsidering that
Very
as
good.
more states do it. So we might have 3 there. And West Virginia has a bill also for concealed carry without a permit. It's called House Bill 4145. People 21 years or older can carry for self-defense purposes without a permit. It'll also allow people 18 to 21 to obtain a concealed carry permit. Criminal penalties for carrying a permit would apply without a permit would apply only to people under 18.
That's very cool.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Constitutional
That's
carry
kinda
in
cool.
Virginia. That's 4 states. There's 2 more. I couldn't even get in this thing. If you're planning a corporate event for Las Vegas, please contact Melissa at thegunstorelasvegas.com. She'll set you up with all this stuff. And I want to talk just a split second here, 4 minutes, about, we just did a show earlier today on terrorism. If you're caught in a terrorist attack, we encourage you to run. If you can't run, hide. If you can't run or hide, fight. There's a lot of sheriffs around that are now asking people if they have a permit to please carry because they can't get there in time and so forth and so on. We're still going with a 7-minute response time nationally for help. So if you have a gun, you should always carry it anyway. But a little further step here, if you have the training, you have a gun, in my view, it is your patriotic duty to be carrying it because we have terrorist attacks. You are the militia. Remember that? That you're a citizen of the United States, and you may be called upon to defeat enemies of the country that are trying to kill your countrymen. Do that. Carry your gun so you can react. Look at the Constitution. You're the militia. Carry your gun.
And just to remember that it's an old saying. For you that have seen me on this show before, I've said it before. It's never going to change. When seconds count, the police are minutes away. So you are your own first responder.
Upcoming events, we've got a Western Trails Gun and Knife Show, February 13 and 14 at Texas Station on Rancho, a new location for them. The Crossroads of the West show is March 5 and 6 at Cashman. Rocky Mountain is still looking for a venue. They haven't gone away. They're looking for a new location, preferably in Henderson. They'll let me know when they have one, but Western Trails coming up on the 13 and 14 very shortly, and March 5 and 6 for Crossroads. We'll be back here next week from 5 to 6, as we are now on 1400 KSHP and YouTube. Next week, we'll have attorney Andrea Loom, one of my favorites. She's so cute. And
Nice.
firearm instructor Maggie Mordaunt. I have an all-lady panel next week.
How come
Wow.
you never have me
You
on
get
when
me,
the
but-
cute attorneys on? I only have
Get-
Mark.
Get me, Larry.
Or I have
Because you're an
trials.
old lecherous guy.
I am not.
And Maggie would shoot you in a heartbeat if
I
you get fresh.
Maggie would not do that.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching this on YouTube. It looks like we got about a minute now. We had a incident in the Colorado News Report this week that Homeland Security and whatnot have lost, in the 31 months, they have lost 1,300 badges, 165 firearms, 159 cell phones. We're on page 13 at the top. Were lost or stolen over 31 months between 2012 and 2015. If I lose a gun, all hell breaks loose.
Well, and
Feds should act the same way.
and-
We're out of time. You can't respond. Thanks for
So
listening.
sorry.
And thanks for watching. We'll be back next week, same time, same stations. Thanks for listening.
Night.